Is there anyone in the country that doesn't like pizza? Now, I know I guess it's supposed to be an Italian dish, but it's about as American as you get right now. With us is an expert today. He is an award-winning executive chef and pizza specialist. He's author of the upcoming book, The United States of Pizza, will be out in September of this year. And it's available. Rizzoli is a publisher. It sounds Rizzoli should be the publisher, right? It couldn't be O'Brien or something like that. It has to be a good Italian name. And it's available for pre-order on Amazon. And this chef has 35 years of experience perfecting the pizza and has even been awarded, by the way, the industry's best international pizza of the year title for one of his recipes. And he is Chef Craig Priebe, who joins us here on the Gary Sutton Show. Chef, I know you have to take time out of the kitchen to be with us, and I really appreciate it this morning. Thanks so much.
It's my pleasure, Gary. I'm really excited about being here. I love talking to Pennsylvania. I go all over the country, and I discover pizzerias, and I keep my ear to the ground. And I've written about pizzerias all over the country, and I included a phenomenal pizzeria from Harrisburg in my book, The United States of Pizza.
Now, where is that phenomenal pizza place in Harrisburg?
Well, have you heard of Enola?
Yes, absolutely.
Suburb?
Absolutely.
Jigsy's Old Forge.
Jigsy's.
That place is a phenomenal. It's really it's an example of a killer regional niche. The pizza that they make, Old Forge pizza, is a delicious sort of thick dough with lots of wonderful cheese and tomatoes. It's such a specialty item. And then one of the pizzas I love for them also is that they make a stuffed pizza called a pierogi pizza.
Oh, yeah.
It's filled with mashed potatoes and Havarti cheese, and it's got a real thin, light, crispy crust. It is phenomenal. It's in my book.
Wow.
I feel like that was such a special pizzeria, and a lot of people need to know more about that, because I think that's what's true about regional pizzas is across the United States, we're kind of unclear of, we haven't heard of some of these things like Old Forge pizza.
Sounds to me like
I'm here to change that.
You talk about pizza like some people talk about craft beers, like a lot of local places that do the craft beers and so forth. Is there a similar analogy there?
Well, I think they're both fine crafts, and I love both of them, and I like to enjoy both together. Obviously, I think that it's an art, and it's a cooking and creating and raising ingredients to a higher level. They're both similar. Pizza, I would take my approach to pizza like that.
Now, how'd you ever get to be such a pizza maniac, so to speak?
Well, a long time ago, I started grilling pizza. It's really, it was over 20 years ago. I started grilling my pizza, and it was such a phenomenal, thin, incredible crust. I opened up my own restaurant in Atlanta, Georgia. Okay. And I had a tremendous go there. I did win the international pizza competition, and I won a number of competitions. I got a lot of accolades, and it was phenomenal. And when it was time to move on, I did the books. I was writing about pizza, and I'm catering pizza. I do, I even had the opportunity where I am to cook grilled pizza for President Obama.
Wow. Well, that's pretty cool. Did he like it, I hope?
Oh, yes. It was phenomenal. I had a lot of success there. They wanted me to go to the White House. The Secret Service people were itching to get me over there, but I didn't go.
Just keep them away from the beer. That's the main thing. They had a little problem with that lately. But anyway, Americans eat about 100 acres of pizza daily. I mean, when you think about that, that's pretty incredible.
It's crazy.
Yeah.
350 slices per second.
So
24 hours a day.
Yeah. What day do we eat the most pizza? It would seem like Super Bowl day or something like that might be it.
It's absolutely Super Bowl Sunday. The pizzerias all over America are that is their number one biggest swamp today. They have to really put out a lot of pizza on Super Bowl Sunday.
I've seen guys that make pizza on Super Bowl Sunday, and I'll see them the week prior a lot of times, and I'll just kind of ask them, I say, you have a lot of orders coming out? I said, oh, my gosh. He said, we'll be here all day long. It's just ridiculous. What is it about pizza and Super Bowl Sunday? It's just the best kind of snack dinner you can have. Well,
it certainly is.
Yeah.
I think it's American tradition.
But you're prejudiced. I'm asking you. You're prejudiced, right? But I'm kidding you. But yeah.
I'm not prejudiced about pizza. I love them all.
Yeah.
There's so many that I really don't hold any grudges. And I think that the thing about America is that we love to party. We love to have fun. We love to have family. We love to have friends. We love to innovate. We love to engineer, and we love to create. And we love to eat. So we're doing that on Super Bowl Sunday. We're watching the great American tradition, and we're having another great American tradition. That's pizza.
How did pizza make it here? I mean, let me start out with this. You have got a pizza quiz in there. Who invented pizza?
Well, it would have to come out of Naples. Before that, there was lots of flatbreads, and for centuries we've been having flatbreads. But in Naples, tomato sauce, and cheese and herbs met the crust, and that was back in in 1800s, late 1800s. The first pizza that was actually called a pizza was created for Queen Margherita, and she loved it. And after that moment, the country started loving pizza too. And it went shortly after that, in 1900, only 10 years later, a lot of these Italian immigrants are leaving Italy, and they're coming through New York, and they really have only one skill, to make pizza. And so they come here, and they're making pizza that they're feeding their families, and they're feeding people in the streets with this pizza. They don't have any pizzerias yet. But in 1905, Gennaro Lombardi, he comes over, and he's working at a grocery store, but he has a dream to make pizza. He ends up buying the grocery store and creating a pizzeria, the first pizzeria in America, Lombardi's. That was in 1905. After that, the soldiers from World War II came over back to America. They're hungry for pizza because they had dabbled with pizza in their travels. Now they're in America, and they're crazy about this pizza they find. And by 1950, it's spreading across the nation like wildfire, being imagined in many different forms.
That's amazing. I mean, you think about it. So it actually started out as kind of would I be fair to say a cheap dish for people? I mean, it always has been fairly affordable.
Of food.
Yeah. Yeah. So if you were poor and you were coming here, and you might find that as good street food, right?
It was street food, and in the beginning in New York, the origin of those giant slices they have were because people couldn't afford a pizza then, and they could only purchase a small part of the pizza. So for a penny or 2 pennies, you would get a big slice of pizza, and that's prices we can't compete with today. But it was because they would cut off these huge hunks and sell it like that.
You know, when you look at pizza, from your vantage point, for a pizza to be a good pizza, and again, realizing there are many, many different ways to do it and many kinds of pizzas in the country, I mean, from Sicilian to thin crust, all the different kinds. But what are the main things that have to be in a great piece of pizza?
Well, pizza has to have balance. And it can't be overwrought with any one ingredient. You can't have too much grease. You can't have too much cheese. You can't have too much sauce or any of the toppings. It has to have balance, and however it's created, if those ingredients are in harmony and the crust it has to be a good crust. You have to start with very good ingredients, I feel, or you're not going to get a good pizza. So it's good, wholesome ingredients combined in a balanced way and cooked with some skills, so you get this crispy crust to go with it.
How long does a good pizza have to be in? I see different people say, pizza's not pizza if it didn't go into a good brick oven. But I've seen
that's a very good point. I believe that is not true at all, especially since after writing this book, United States of Pizza, I was able to, I made all these pizzas from across the United States in my home oven, just a normal range oven. And it was remarkable for me to realize through the technique I use with 500-degree heat and keeping the rack of the oven on the very bottom rung there, you have to get that very close to the source of heat, and you get an incredible crisp crust that is it's just as good as anything I've had. And it seems blasphemous to say that, but the fancy ovens are all wonderful, and you need them in those pizzerias because they're serving great quantity of pizza. But at home, your oven is a great place for a pizza. It's going to stay in there a little longer. At 500 degrees, it might stay in for 15 minutes, not 90 seconds. But I think you get a way better bake, too. I think people are going to be so surprised when they get this killer pizzeria pizza at home.
And of course, they can find out all about pizza with your upcoming book here, which is The United States of Pizza, September 15th. That's coming out. You got to be excited about that. I love the name of I'm assuming that's the publisher, Rizzoli, right?
The publisher is Rizzoli, yes, and it's available on Amazon.com for pre-order. You can get it right now, and you save some money, too, if you buy it today.
Would you have been upset if the publisher would have been, let's say, like O'Brien or something like that? I mean, Rizzoli seems like it goes along with the whole topic, right?
I was so excited to have Rizzoli pick this book up. They're number one. I think they're a fantastic publisher, and they're Italian, so they're like me.
There you go. Now, tell me, Craig, where do you find the biggest slices? You mentioned New York a moment ago that the big slices came there because people couldn't afford a whole pie. But where are the biggest slices? Is New York still a hot one? Yeah.
Really, I'd say the same. The largest slice is in New York. It's definitely part of their New York culture to have a really big slice, and it's so large you have to fold it and eat it that way. And I think there's the largest pizza in the world was created, but that was not part of New York. That was
You know, I see a lot of places now that seem to be getting bigger pieces. I go around to I do a lot of traveling, and I see a lot of places that have these big cuts now, where I didn't remember seeing those before. Was I just missing out on that, or have they been there the whole time?
Well, I think they've been there. You know, Jigsy's is, and Old Forge pizza in general is generally a large piece.
Right.
You know, it's a family-sized serving. And I think it's great to have pizza servings like that, especially if they're, it's a thin crust. It works really well. When the thicker crust, you might eat less, but you'll have one big piece can cover you. You won't be eating tons of slices unless you're like me. You might be.
What pizza recipe have you kind of experienced or gone through that would surprise everyone?
Well, the one that I just mentioned is the pierogi pizza.
Yeah.
That thing it was amazing to discover that they just raised the lowly mashed potato into such a heavenly creation. And that pizza is phenomenal. Also, I do great pizzas like I invented a pizza for Oregon that was with smoked oysters, Marionberry jam, pork belly, and jalapenos. That's an interesting pizza.
Yeah, I would say that's got. I see flavor exploding in your mouth there. For heaven's sakes.
Exactly, it's a total umami bomb.
Okay. Now, as you go around different regions of the country, and you obviously have that opportunity to do that, what are the regional differences you see in pizza? Is there any such thing as a regional difference?
Oh, there is. There's regional differences, and it could be like right next door. You go next door across the street, and you have something different. Generally, what I've noticed across the United States is there's about 8 doughs that are used. And out of these 8 doughs, there's literally hundreds of thousands of pizzas that can be created just by different techniques, whether the dough is kneaded a little longer, whether the dough is rolled out, or whether the dough is hand-tossed, or whether there's a lot of variables with your crust. You'll see that in different forms. But essentially, they're made from 8 types of dough across the United States. That would be whole wheat dough,
wow,
New York dough, Naples stuffed pizza dough, Sicilian, corn flour, gluten-free, and sourdough. So once I had all those, I saw all the pizzas across America being comprised of that. I was able to nail down those regional differences and record them in the book, United States of Pizza.
We're talking with executive chef Craig Priebe here on the Gary Sutton Show, who's written this new book, The United States of Pizza. You can pre-order it. It's with Rizzoli as the publisher. Coming out in September. You can pre-order it right now on Amazon.com. I'm going to ask you a tough question, and maybe you can't answer it, and if you can, I'll appreciate the honesty. But what is the greatest piece of pizza that you've ever had?
The greatest piece of pizza?
And where did you have it?
At home. I got to tell you the truth. I might sound, a little conceited, but I did create the best pizza that I've ever had. During this book of making the United States of Pizza, I really enjoy sourdough crust. I think that was probably a phenomenal crust. It's tangy, and it's just an amazing wild yeast dough that's made from... it's a long process. You have to raise your starter up for like 5 days, and you feed it every day. And it's all in the book, and it's it's probably one of the most ethereal pizza doughs that I've ever had.
My dad used to make sourdough bread and take it around to people at Christmas time, and I remember him, having to raise the bread up and all the things he had to go through. What's the fascination that people have, Craig, with cold pizza?
Well, the cold pizza is still pizza. It reminds you of the fun you had the night before, I think. It's nice to have in the morning.
Yeah, so it's the gift that keeps on giving then.
It is.
And by the way, for those that don't like cold pizza, like me, what's the best way to preheat your leftover pizza?
I really enjoy preheating it reheating it in a skillet. I find that if you put it in, especially a cast iron skillet, it's a great way. Heat it up to about a medium heat, not too hot, and you want to put your pizza slices in there on the dry pan, and then cover it with a sheet pan or a lid, and it will steam on top and get crispy on the bottom, and it'll be ready in just 2 or 3 minutes. It is just like the day before.
We're close to lunchtime right now, and you're driving me crazy. I want to take a break. We're going to come right back to you, Craig, and I want to find out, why we love this so much. It's really just a unique thing in the country. When you say, I'm going out, I'm getting pizza. I mean, it's part of our lexicon, right?
Yeah.
But what flavor combinations are the most popular, and what are some of the wackiest ones that you've come across? You mentioned a couple that were different, but what are some of the wackiest pizza combinations maybe either that you've created or you've seen elsewhere? Craig Priebe is an executive chef and pizza specialist. He's the author of the new book, The United States of Pizza, coming out in September. You can pre-order it right now on Amazon. It's under Rizzoli is the publisher on that. And he'll be right back with us with some more pizza facts and figures here on the Gary Sutton Show on News Radio 910 WSBA. Welcome back to the Gary Sutton Show on WSBA with Craig Priebe, who's an executive chef and pizza specialist. He's an award-winning executive chef who had the Best International Pizza of the Year title for one of his recipes. And he's back with us here on the Gary Sutton Show. He's written a brand new book called The United States of Pizza, which I will be picking up, by the way. Rizzoli, the publisher, you can pre-order it on Amazon right now. But, I can't think of a more fun book to read than about pizzas. I watch the Food Channel a lot, Chef, and I love it when they go out and do the pizza circuit because it's fun to see how different people make them. But you've been all over the country. I guess I want to ask, what flavor combinations are the most popular?
Well, most popular is still pepperoni. That's the number one topping in America. And I know that seems very traditional, but there's a good reason for that. Kids and grown-ups love it alike. It has a great burst of flavor in your mouth, and pepperoni is very pungent, but something that even American children seem to be loving to eat. But I do have very traditional pizzas in the book, United States of Pizza, but I also have these crazy combinations that I found across the country that are really fun.
So,
I think that
for example,
I was inspired.
Yeah, for example, give me some of the craziest ones you've come across.
Well, in Hawaii, there's an incredible pizza that they make with a sweet potato puree, and they put a curry sauce on it with coconut. And I thought that it's brilliant. It has sweet, it has spiciness. I love sweet heat. It has that going for it. But with those kind of combinations, we don't normally see coconut, sweet potatoes, and curry on pizza. I also
I got to tell you though, the puree, outside of tomato sauce, which is kind of can be puree, but that scares me a little bit. The puree sound, but it works.
It's a roasted potato. Yeah.
Listen, I'm deferring to you. You're the pizza guy here, so I'm just saying. I just on first blush and hearing
that might not be for you, but you might like the Reuben pie. That was in Portland, Oregon. This is right. This is good. Dove Vizi is a killer pizzeria in Portland, Oregon, and there's a Reuben pie which is layers of Swiss cheese, sliced corned beef, and it has sauerkraut and a Thousand Island dressing. This is all served in like a double crust pie. And it's alongside it would be a zucchini relish, which is kind of like a sweet relish, and it's so amazing.
Oh man! Now, are there some wild combinations that you went through and you just said to the guy, it doesn't work for me? It just, for example, one thing, and I'm sure probably, where do we ever get the idea of putting anchovies on pizza? Did that come with the Italians when they came over?
That definitely came with the Italians. Yeah. That's one of the original pizzas.
Yuck! I hate anchovies. I really do.
A lot of people do.
Yeah, I know they're in Caesar dressing, and I can tolerate it there. But just a little dead long fish in there, that just didn't do much for me. That's the one thing I will not eat on pizza.
Well, that's fine. There's plenty of other things for you to enjoy. anchovies are just one of the tiniest, ingredients. We don't see a lot of them because I think a lot of people share that attitude.
I don't get to talk to pizza experts like you very often, so I've got to ask you, what are your favorite things on a pizza? Do you have any one thing you say, this is when I'm having this pizza, this is the one, and this has got to be what's on it?
For simplistic, I really enjoy sausage onion pizza.
Okay.
That's probably my go-to mainstay meal for pizza. But I really enjoy another pizza that has a classic Italian flavor of cantaloupe and prosciutto, and it's in my first book, the Grilled Pizzas and Piadinas.
Okay.
That pizza has a very thin grilled crust, and on top is the prosciutto, but it has a cantaloupe chutney and has little gorgonzola cheese.
Wow.
Those three flavors will knock out anybody. That is one of my most successful pizzas, and it's in the first book, Grilled Pizza.
As you look at pizza right now, and we've talked longer today about pizza than I've ever talked with anybody in my lifetime, but as you look at pizza now, are there trends that you're seeing? Are there anything trending in the country? That seems to be a real popular word these days.
Sure.
With regard to pizza?
Well, Naples has been on trend for a long time. Naples-style pizza. Napolitana pizza popped up all across the country. And we even invented the American version of the Associazione Verace Pizza Napolitana, which is the true Neapolitan Pizza Association. And they're in America, and they make sure that the Neapolitan pizza is done the way it's done in Italy. That's been a huge trend. And also, before that, along with that, there was a wood-burning oven trend, and you'll still see that. And right now, take and bake is big, where people are making pizzas. You see it at stores all across the country, and they're taking them home and baking them at home and getting fresh pizza. That's very trendy.
Yeah, and I see these commercials on and say it's not store, it's DiGiorno, right? I mean, you see that kind of thing too, where you're seeing that in the stores. And of course, I guess a lot of people say pizza's pizza, but pizza just isn't pizza. I mean, you gotta have a little some pizzazz to it, right?
I agree. I think a good pizza should have a great balance.
Well, the name of the book is The United States of Pizza. The author is Craig Priebe, Priebe. It's going to be out in September. Rizzoli is a publisher. I'm going to be getting a copy of it, so you can be sure of that. But I really appreciate you being with us, Craig, today. It was a lot of fun, and good luck with the book. I mean, it just sounds like one that I think a lot of people in America are going to want to buy.
Thank you. It's been a pleasure talking with you, Gary.
Craig,
if your listeners would like to ask any more questions, they can go to craigpriebe.com, and I'll join them there.
There you go, Priebe, craigpriebe.com. Craig, I look forward to talking to you again soon about maybe some other trends in pizza consumption, because I'll tell you what, it isn't going to stop anytime soon.
No, it's going up the roof. It's going to keep going.
All right, man. Thanks so much, Craig.
Thank you, Gary.
Take care. Good luck. Craig Priebe with us on the Gary Sutton Show, an executive chef who's written that book, United States of Pizza. Grab it. It'll be a fun book.